I billed $7,000 in a single week. And then the following week, I watched it all disappear in 2 taps. $5,000 for a month of rent on an Airbnb in New York City, and about $4,800 for a tax payment that just happened to be due the following week. And when the dust settled, I wasn't sitting at zero progress. I was back in the negative, which is genuinely hilarious in the darkest possible way. Because when I made that amount of money in a week, I felt like I was at the finish line. I felt like I'd made it. I felt like if I could just continue doing that, it would change everything. But instead, it just proved in the most brutal way that the system can consume your entire life and leave you with literally nothing to show for it. Back in 2020, if you adjust for currency, I was literally making less than $2,500 a month. That was normal for me. That was the ceiling. That was the world that I lived in. Now fast forward to last year, 2025, and I had this week where I billed roughly $7,000 inside 7 days. About $1,000 a day for 7 days straight. If you told the 2020 version of me that that was possible, I honestly wouldn't have believed you. But here's what it actually looked like. I was in New York City in the summertime, which sounds like a dream until you realize that I didn't actually see New York. I was at a desk. I was rocking up to a WeWork co-working space at sunrise and leaving around midnight, 7 days in a row, because I was billing by the hour and there was no machine behind it. The machine was literally me. Every single dollar required me being there. It required my body being present, my brain being switched on, and my calendar being owned. It felt productive and it might have looked impressive to some people, but it was a trap. Because when you earn like that, you're not actually building anything. You're really just converting your nervous system into cash. There's no slack, there's no margin, there's literally no room to breathe. There's just output. And yeah, the invoices go out. You get that spike of dopamine. And for about 15 minutes, you start telling yourself, okay, yo, this is good. I'm in motion. We're making money. And then reality hits. A month of rent comes out. A tax payment lands. And you realize that that entire week of grind didn't buy freedom. It didn't buy momentum. It didn't buy anything at all that keeps paying you. It just got eaten. And if you're hearing this and you're thinking, well, I'll just earn more. Well, that's exactly what I thought too. But it doesn't work if your burn rate upgrades every time you get a pay increase. And it definitely doesn't work when your income remains welded to your hours. Income is what you make, but wealth is what you keep and what keeps growing without you. And reflecting on that week, it taught me 3 rules. They're not motivational or aesthetic, they're just how the game actually works if the goal is to get rich. The first rule is that upgrading your lifestyle has to come last because it locks you in to an output level. Now, this is where most people go wrong. Most people upgrade their lifestyle as soon as they see a bigger number. Sometimes they upgrade before they even get it, just when they expect it to come. This is most commonly seen through upgrading your housing. A bigger rent bill, a nicer place, more spacious, better location, more convenience, more I deserve this. But the problem is that the upgrade isn't neutral. It's a handcuff because it raises the minimum amount that you must earn just to stay alive, which means that you can't slow down. You can't take risks. You can't say no, and you can't build anything that compounds because you're just too busy feeding the machine. And that's why stacking first and then upgrading later is not just a cute finance tip. It is a law of compounding. If your baseline burn is too high, then every single month is just survival. And survival mode kills wealth building. And the second rule that I've learned from all of this is that you do not move into expensive cost structures until you've earned it. The reason being, they delete your upside. And that is what New York City taught me in a single week. A top tier city isn't expensive in abstract. It's expensive relative to how you earn. If your income comes from leverage, you can live there and still build. But if your income comes from hours, it's a vanity tax that steals your compounding. Rent, tax, and the general cost of living do not care that you had a big week. They don't scale down just because you get tired. They don't pause just because you're sick. They keep charging you the price of that environment. So if you're still building and the goal is wealth, then you want an environment where the money stays in your bank account long enough to actually build. You want an environment where the upside accumulates in your account long enough to stack. Major cities are for the leveraged. Before that, they're quicksand. And the third and perhaps most important rule is that you have to stop chasing income and start chasing leverage. Because leverage is the only thing that actually will make you rich from nothing. Now, people hear the term leverage and they think it's some abstract concept. It isn't. In its simplest sense, leverage is just something that continues to pay you when you're not actively producing. This looks like retainers instead of projects, recurring revenue instead of one-off spikes, systems and delegation so that the output doesn't require you to be constantly on the tools. It's distribution and audience so you're not starting from zero every single week. And it's equity so you're not capped by your own hours. If you want a simple test to work out whether you're building leverage or not, it's this. If you disappeared for 14 days, does the money still come in? And if the answer is no, you don't have leverage yet. You have a job that you've built for yourself. And that's why 7 grand in a week was so useful for me. Not because it was impressive, but because it exposed the ceiling. Even if you can bill that hard and print money, you're still literally one bad week away from zero. And if you're living inside an expensive cost structure, even your best weeks can still turn to negative. So yeah, I billed 7 grand in a week. In real life, it was just 7 days of rented time, and the money vanished in an instant. Just having a high income isn't the goal. Leveraged income is.